You check your bank account halfway through the month, and a massive chunk of your paycheck has already vanished. You aren't taking luxury vacations or wild shopping sprees. It's the rapid, daily friction of groceries, gas, and coffee draining your account. The standard advice to stop this leak is to build a complex system. You stare at a dense 40-line item spreadsheet like this one, obsessively tracking every individual purchase. But managing dozens of micro-categories is exhausting, creating a fragile system that falls apart by month 2. The alternative is the 50-30-20 rule. This framework simplifies your financial life down to 3 clear, predictable numbers. To build this system today, you need 2 tools. Grab a calculator and your most recent monthly bank statement. We are going to construct a proactive blueprint. Effective budgeting does not mean restricting your life. It means giving every single dollar a deliberate job to do before it has the chance to disappear. Step 1 is determining your true mathematical baseline. This is your after-tax income. Do not use your gross salary for this calculation. Look at your bank statement and isolate the exact final dollar amount that actually hits your checking account after taxes, insurance, and payroll deductions. Let's use a baseline of $4,000. Multiply by 0.50 to generate a $2,000 boundary for needs. Multiply the baseline by 0.30, giving $1,200 for wants. Finally, multiply by 0.20, producing an $800 target for savings. Pause here and do the math for your own income. Write down your personal dollar amounts for all 3 categories. By replacing a giant list of minor expenses with 3 absolute mathematical boundaries, you shift your financial management out of the weeds of micro-tracking and into a state of macro control. Now that you have your targets, open up last month's bank statement. We need to run your past spending through the sorting protocol. The first column, 50% needs, takes non-negotiables like rent and groceries. The second column, 30% wants, holds lifestyle enhancements. Luxuries masquerade as needs, but premium coffee belongs in wants. The third column, 20% savings, builds emergency funds and pays debt. Making this third bucket function requires a psychological shift. You must treat this 20% target as a fixed, mandatory monthly bill. It cannot be treated as an optional category funded only by what happens to be left over at the end of the month. Brutal honesty during this sorting protocol separates the people who successfully build wealth from the people who simply write down nice ideas. Real-world financial environments are rarely perfect. Sometimes your baseline mathematical model requires immediate adjustment to survive contact with reality. Look at this credit card statement. Carrying high-interest debt exceeding a 20% interest rate means that compounding math actively destroys standard saving logic. If you hold this type of debt, funnel all the capital from your 20% bucket directly toward that balance. Eliminating a 20% interest rate yields a higher return than parking cash in a standard savings account. The second common anomaly is geography. If you live in a high cost of living environment, your housing costs alone might breach that 50% threshold. If that is your reality, do not panic. Simply adjust the ratios to fit your environment. You might need to adopt a 60-20-20 split, pulling 10% from your wants category to cover your housing. Maintaining 3 intentional, proportional boundaries that you actually follow month after month is vastly superior to attempting a mathematically perfect ratio that causes immediate paralysis. Look down at those 3 customized target numbers you wrote down earlier. Your challenge is to run your daily spending through those exact 3 targets for exactly 1 month. The goal for your first month is not flawless execution. The goal is simply diagnosing which of your 3 buckets is structurally out of balance, so you know exactly where to draw the line. Once you have your spending stabilized, the next step is optimizing that newly protected 20% savings bucket. In our next video, we break down the top 5 investing mistakes that almost every beginner makes, so you can avoid them entirely. Ultimate financial clarity does not come from looking backward at where your money went. It comes from dictating, moving forward, exactly where every dollar will go.